You do 15 times 15 and you get what?
35.
Times 15 times 15?
169.
225.
Oh.
Just 15 times 15. Now, does anybody notice what's going to happen here? The two middle ones are going to cancel out. Good. Negative 45i. I'm just going to write it out this one time. Negative 45i. And this one's going to be what?
15.
15 times 3. Positive 45i. And then this one becomes minus 9i squared. What you need to notice is that when the numbers are the same, 15 and 15, 3i and 3i, but one's plus and one's minus, the middle terms always cancel out. So all you really have to do is 225 minus 9i squared. Now, you can only do that shortcut if you recognize it. You can't do it every time, only when everything matches except one's positive and one's minus. All right, now this we know how to do. 225 minus 9 times I squared is negative 1. So that's 225 plus 9, and this is where the answer was that someone was saying. 234? Is that right?
Sounds right.
Okay, so the second case I'm going to do it as a shortcut. I'm not going to write it all out because the 9's and the 7i's matches. So all I have to do is 9 squared minus 7i squared. I'm just going to do that in my head actually. 9 squared is 81.
Yes.
And 7 squared is 49. And then we have I squared. Again, this is a shortcut that you're only allowed to use when the first numbers match, second numbers match, one's positive, one's minus. So it's 81 minus 49 times negative 1. I squared is negative 1. So do 81 plus 49 and see what you get. 130. Okay. So let's practice for what we're going to need to be able to do for the denominators. So look at the next example, and we'll just do these a couple at a time. You're going to see one like this on your practice test and one like this on your real test. So make sure that you know how to do it. You're not allowed to have I in the denominator because that really means radical negative 1. You're not allowed to have radicals. So you have to multiply the denominator by the exact opposite. So you keep the 1, you keep the 3i, but you change the plus to minus. And what we've done is we've created a shortcut there. So do the same thing to the top. 1 minus 3i. If we just take that little by little, you'll see that it works out kind of easily, a lot easier than a radicals one does. All right, so on the top, we distribute. When there's a plus or a minus, you're distributing.
Do you have any recycling?
And we have 8i times 1, 8i. And then 8i times negative 3i makes positive, negative 24i squared. Question on that?
That's not the answer, right?
Correct, that's just the numerator. On the bottom, we do 1 times 1 minus 3i times 3i. So 1 times 1 is 1 minus, what's 3i times 3i?
9i.
9i squared. 3 times 3 is 9, I times I is I squared. Question on where that came from? Alright, now all that's left to do is to simplify. I'm going to start getting to the point where I just write it right here. I squared is negative 1. So that really means 8i plus 24. And this is negative 9 times negative 1. So that really means 1 plus 9. Which means we have 8i plus 24 over 10. So each little part is not difficult. It's important that you remember that I squared turns into negative 1. Now technically this is true. It's not the way that they would write their answer. Reduce if you can, but it has to be all or nothing. Do you see a number that you can reduce 8, 24, and 10 by?
2.
Good. So if you can reduce all, then do it. Divide by 2, you get 4. Divide by 2, you get 12. Divide by 2, you get 5. It's got to be all or nothing when there's a plus sign. Yep. And the last thing I'm going to do is rewrite my answer. Technically, they want the imaginary part of the number to go last. So I'm going to put my 12 in front, my 4i at the end, and it's over 5. That's what your answer looks like. All we need to do is, we have to do this so that our I moves to the top instead of on the bottom. It's called rationalizing. Questions on the steps?
No.
Letter B is easier. Can you tell me what's the difference between A and B in the denominator?
Yeah. They don't have an addition sign.
Good. Letter B doesn't have the addition sign, so it's a lot easier. We want to make I squared up here. Watch how that helps us. Do times I, and then times I. If you can get I, oh, I'm sorry.
Wait, I
Don't write
square
I
or I
squared.
square?
Yeah, I was mixing my work with my answer. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's unacceptable.
Yeah, you multiply it by whatever will make the I go away, and if I can turn it into I squared, it goes into negative 1. I don't have it anymore.
Okay.
So up top, it's 2 times I,
2i,
and then plus what?
I squared.
Yes, which really is negative 1. And on the bottom, we have 5 times,
Square, I squared.
which is really negative 1.
Do we have to write it? What if we just know?
You can start doing it in your head too. I'm just writing it so everyone can see. So what I really have is 2i minus 1 over what? What's the bottom now? Negative 5. Now that's a technically good answer. It's not simplified form. The way that they want us to write it is without any negatives on the bottom and also the imaginary part last. So all I have to do is change all the signs. If I change this to positive, then I have to change this to negative and this to positive. Change all or nothing. And then I should rewrite it with the imaginary part last.
So it would be
1.
1 minus
That's right.
2i.
And then over positive 5. And that's the way your answer could look. That's the technically correct way to write it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So your entire goal is to get rid of any i's on the denominator, whatever it takes to make that happen. Look at letter C. What would you have to do to the bottom?
I have to multiply it by 3.
That's good. Multiply it by the opposite. So it's radical 2 plus 3i, and you do the same thing to the top.
Oh, that's not correct.
So let's just go through it slowly. Up top, 7 times radical 2. Good. And then we have 7 times positive 3i, so it's 21i. Questions on that? Be very, very careful about the denominator. What is radical 2 times radical 2? 2. Good, it's not 4. And then minus, it's always minus. And then what's 3i times 3i? 9i squared. So up top, nothing can change but down. On bottom, it's really negative 9 times negative 1. Are you getting to where you start doing that in your head?
Yeah.
So it's really 2 plus 9, right?
Yeah.
So we get 11 here, and 7 radical 2 plus 2i, or 21i. Now you look if anything can cancel. 11 doesn't go into 21 and 7, so that's your final answer. Although, yeah, I do have the I written last, so it's good. I'm going to help you out with letter D, then I'm going to have you try 2 on your own. Letter D. What has to happen to the denominator? Yeah, the easiest way is to just multiply it by I. You don't do the same thing every time. You do whatever it takes to make the I go away. So on the bottom we have 3i squared. And what does that really mean?
1. Negative 1.
Negative 1 and then times 3. So our overall answer would be?
Negative 3.
Good. It's 3 times the negative 1. Up top, 2i plus what? Oh, good. You worked it out already. Plus 8i squared. Good. Which means 2i minus 8. Going too fast?
Yes.
With the writing, but you understand the concept, right?
Yeah.
2i, and then this was 8 times negative 1, so that's where we got negative 8 from. Alright, technically that's not written correctly. It's good, but they don't want negatives on the bottom. When you see answers written out, they'll always simplify that part. So you change that one, and that one. Because 3 doesn't go into all the numbers.
So just do 8 minus 2i
That's right.
over 3.
That's right. The I term goes last. The imaginary part. Over it?
Trying to eat better spin than that.
Anybody want to tell me what they got on top?
Huh? I'll take you home.
No. 9 plus
Plus
I.
I?
Yeah.
What'd you get on the bottom?
We got 41.
Done. Alright, so let's go over it. On the top, I know this is different, but it's things you've seen before. It's 1 times 4 is 4. And then it's 1 times 5i is 5i. And then it's negative I times 4 is negative 4i. And then the last is minus 5i squared. The denominator is a shortcut because you set it up that way. 4 times 4 is 16. 5i times 5i is 25i. So then, sorry, 25i squared. So this is minus 1 and minus 1 up here. So we just keep simplifying. We get 4 and positive 5 make 9. 5i and negative 4i make 1i. On the bottom, 16 plus 25 makes 41. Any questions on where those numbers came
There's
from?
a cricket.
The cricket?
Yeah, right there. Kill it.
Pick it up.
Kill it.
Let me go over the last one. Let me chase out the door. Alright, on the top, 4 radical 3 minus 8i. Questions with that? On the bottom, what's radical 3 times radical 3? 3, good, not 9. And then 2i and 2i make minus 4i squared. It's 3 plus 4. This is negative 1 right there. So on the bottom it's 7. On the top it's 4 radical 3 minus 8i.